friends, and thanks for joining me. And today I want to talk to you about the best frugal cookware ever. Now, I haven't tried all of the different cookwares out there, but I have tried most of the main types, you know, like stainless steel, stuff with aluminum cores, glass, that sort of stuff. And I have not found any cookware that I like better than cast iron. This stuff is the bomb, for real. It is the best cookware ever, and let me tell you why. First of all, it lasts forever. There are people out there, and if that's you, I totally want to hear from you, but there are people out there who have like the cookware from their parents, from their grandparents, you know, and so as long as you take care of it really well, you can pass this stuff down throughout the generations. Not only will you be able to use it the rest of your lifetime, but you know, they can keep using it forever after that. So yeah, it's nearly indestructible. If you do end up with some issues, you know, if it gets dry or if it rusts, it's really easy to bring it back and get it back into, you know, commission again. So that's probably one of the things I like best about this. A long time ago, I used to have a non-stick skillet, and it lasted probably about a year, and then the black stuff started flaking off and got into the food. And so I had to replace it, and then sure enough, it'd be like another year and you'd have to buy another one. Well, while a cast iron skillet is a little bit more to pay for up front, they last a really long time and then they don't end up with any of those issues. And while we're talking about, you know, non-stick really fast, I also found out when I was, you know, using them that the non-stick stuff that they put in there actually has some pretty nasty chemicals that can actually leak into your food even if it isn't, you know, flaking or falling apart. And then if you preheat it on the stove before you actually put your food into it, it can actually release fumes into the air, which can be toxic. So there's a couple bad things with that stuff. So yeah, for health reasons, I think, you know, cast iron is definitely a way better choice because it's much healthier. You can use this stuff in the stove, you can use it in the oven, you can cook over a fire. You know, it's super versatile. You can have one set and use it at home or take it camping or in your bug out bag or whatever it is you do with it, you know, and you can pretty much use them anywhere, which is pretty great. So you can fry an egg and then you can make some cornbread in it and put it in the oven or whatever. So that's good because then you can have a more minimalistic approach to some of the stuff that you have in your house, and then you don't need all these different things for all these different purposes because, you know, just a few cast iron pieces can actually be useful for so much, which is great. It can also take high heat, which is excellent. You can put it, you know, really high heat on the stovetop or again in the oven, which is excellent. It has excellent heat distribution. So if you have, you know, a stove that has hot spots in it, like say a gas stove, has the ring where the gas comes up. Well, frequently with other types of pans, what'll happen is that section where the flame is just directly under will actually burn faster than many of the other places. I'm sure you've noticed that if you've ever cooked over gas. And even just an electric stove, you know, a coil top or anything else, this can definitely help evenly distribute the heat so that you don't end up with any of those hot spots. And so it can be harder to burn, which is great, especially for cooks like me who might have a little bit of trouble with that from time to time. But hey, I usually don't have a problem with that with this cast iron, which is great. It sort of makes me into a better cook. Oh. It's naturally non-stick, so when you have it seasoned well, it basically just it never has anything like super stick to it, you know? And even if you do end up with things sticking to it, it's actually really easy to clean. I like stuff that's easy to take care of. It can actually add iron to your food, which is great for women or people that are vegetarians or anybody who just doesn't get enough iron in their diet. Anytime you cook something in it, it's actually going to leach just a tiny itty bitty little bit of iron into your food, which is good for us because we obviously need iron. So if you cook acidic food, it can actually leach more of that, which is again even better, so that's good. And then the last thing I like about cast iron is that it's actually really inexpensive, especially when you compare having to replace stuff. So in the end, even though the other skillets may seem more, you know, inexpensive up front, because you have to keep replacing them, cast iron is actually cheaper in the long run, which is great. So I have a little bit of a collection of cast iron I would like to show you really quickly. Okay, so let's start on this side. I actually got the 3 of these pans in a set. And while I use each of them for a lot of things, my favorite things to do with this one is like frying like one egg or like nacho cheese dip for chips, that sort of stuff. It's the perfect small size for when you're just making something fairly small. The next one is going to be this one, and there is no better pan than this one for making omelets. This one is when I'm making something a little bit bigger, so say I was making a bigger batch of like scrambled eggs or just like a smaller batch of vegetables, those sorts of things. That's a great size for that. And back when I was just cooking for 2, this would have been a better size to have used for stuff like potatoes and things like that. But because we have a family and they eat a lot, we had to move up to this pan. This thing is huge. It seriously is. And we use it all the time. We use it for potatoes, we use it for vegetables, we use it for all kinds of things. And it is very, very versatile. It works really, really well. The cool thing about this is the pan over here's lid actually fits on this one. So when you get the 2 of them together, it actually works out really well because then you kind of get a 2-for-1 deal on that. This is a griddle, of course, and the other side, it has some grill lines. So basically that's a good, griddle pan for stuff like searing meats and things like that. So that's great. This flat side, however, is better for, quesadillas or pancakes or whatever you would use a normal flat griddle for. Again, excellent heat distribution. Love this pan. And then here is the biggest one. This is the Dutch oven. This is the best soup and stew pot ever, for real. It's huge. It makes a ton all at once. It has a really nice heavy-duty lid. The underside of the lid has all these little pokey things, and basically what these do is when food is cooking inside of the pan, of course, steam is created and then it gets onto the lid. Well, what these do is they collect that steam and then they evenly distribute all of that moisture back into the pan without it, going all into one place. So a traditional lid would go like this, the steam gets stuck to the top and then it runs down the side, and the center can become more dry because of those little pokey things. It basically makes it to where everything is, more evenly, the extra water that was trying to evaporate is just re-added. So there you go. There is my set, my little collection there, and I really enjoy it. They're all really good. They're all available on Amazon, and yeah, excellent choice.